You're listening to the October edition of the Sponsorship Experts podcast with Paul Poole, Director of Paul Poole Southeast Asia, Co-Limited, and founder of the Sponsorship Experts. In this episode of the podcast, we take a closer look at the importance of continued education in a fast-changing world. In addition, we have confirmed the dates for next year's training workshops, Sponsorship Part 1 and Sponsorship Part 2, so save the date.
So here we are once more in the wonderful Moat Cigar Club, an environment ideally suited for podcasts.
It is, especially when we talk about sport.
Yeah. And we've got a couple of things to talk about in any other business, but today's focus is pretty much going to be on executive education, right?
It is.
All right, so in this kind of AI era in the tech world and environment, is it necessary? Is it required?
Well, I believe continued education may seem like a big investment, but studies show that it pays off. And we'll talk about this a bit later. You know, we invest heavily into our own education, and we also invest heavily in actually executing training workshops and bespoke training for our clients as well. So we genuinely believe that the effort pays off. In a rapidly changing business environment defined by disruption, global competition, and increasing demand for sustainability and social responsibility, executive education has evolved from a discretionary perk into a strategic imperative. Organisations that systematically invest in leadership development for both senior members of staff and junior members of staff and up-and-coming talent gain the agility, resilience and foresight needed to thrive amid uncertainty. So I think, you know, it's crucially important.
I think given the fluid nature of business, especially at exec level where people are, you know, moving, it's also a good way to establish and sustain a company culture, right?
Yeah. You know, we with our own workshops, which we'll talk about in more detail a bit later, you know, it's a full day, and we really look at the networking aspect, and that's not external networking, it's internal networking as well. So I think, you know, that it's not just about what you're learning, it's actually about being present and contributing to the conversation as well. So I think, you know, it's more than just training or education. It's actually empowering people to feel part of the team
and get off the screen, be present, touch grass, and touch someone's grass.
I mean, it's interesting. We're off topic a little bit, but you know, we worked with a client, Spear Asia, the Sports Industry Awards and Conference, and we thoroughly enjoyed that event because it really brought peers together. And the Sports Authority of Thailand were our major sponsor. All the national sports associations were there, learning from other countries, other sports associations, and it was really great to see. I remember Kop Khan was the Minister of Tourism and Sport, and she was basically very, very excited about Spear Asia because for her teams that looked after all the stadiums around the country to learn from other countries and how they manage their stadiums, not just managing it from sport use, but actually looking at revenue streams to generate revenue for the upkeep of those stadiums. So it was quite, you know, it's not just about, you know, learning something's on a piece of paper. It's actually about, you know, collaboration and learning from other people.
Yeah, I think on the general topic of that kind of corporate education, I remember being impressed. I had a 3-month consultancy gig for something that was setting up here in Bangkok, and one of the team leaders from it had worked for IBM for 20 odd years, and he had some incredible one-liners that were definitely, and I've spoken to subsequently, we became friends, that were from the IBM culture. I remember once at the end of a meeting, quite contentious, he said, okay, so now we all disagree and commit. And that was a catchphrase from IBM, who've had lots of meetings where people didn't get on, or, there were other agendas competing, but a decision had to be made.
Yeah.
And disagree and commit is the perfect full stop to that meeting. And he told me, he said, Trev, we learned loads of those things within that company culture. So I like that. And your answer kind of captures that ethos as well, of being able to both imprint and make sure that everybody knows the same thing about a particular part of that business, in your case, sponsorship. Mm-hmm. So, that's really good. So is this, is there an ROI? Is there a known return on investment from it?
Well, I mean, listeners should actually go and look at the newsletter, this month's newsletter, and the newsletter story, some really good examples. But according to McKinsey and Company, companies that invest strategically in leadership development are 2.5 times more likely to outperform their peers in total shareholder return. In the world of sports, for example, the same thinking helps sponsorship leaders turn partnerships into powerful platforms for growth. For instance, Adidas's collaboration with major clubs goes beyond brand visibility. It's about aligning purpose and performance, something learned and refined through ongoing executive learning.
Right.
And the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Report 2023 found that nearly half of workers' skills will change within 5 years.
Yeah,
which
we kind of alluded to before. Yeah.
So for executives in sponsorship and partnership marketing, this means keeping up with digital tools, which you mentioned, fan behavior analytics, and global cultural shifts. Continuous learning isn't optional; it's it's for survival. I've got a quote in the newsletter, and I'll talk through it now.
I like that a lot.
Think of it a bit like sports. The most successful teams don't start training once they've won a championship. They analyse their performance, study new tactics, and keep developing their players. The same logic applies to business leaders. Without continuous development, even the most talented executives can plateau, or worse, fall behind. So, we're all for continuing learning.
Yeah, I mean, if your competitors are doing it, and you're not, that's kind of negligence.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually here in Thailand, if I think back to my time in Europe, with all the companies I'd worked for when I was an employee, there was ongoing training in all manner of disciplines. Actually, not just in terms of business training. There was training in terms of diversity training, etc. So, I mean, just really interesting stuff. That I don't think there's a lot of that here. I mean, as far as I'm aware, we're the only ones doing certainly sponsorship training once a year to actually look at the disciplines within the sponsorship and partnership marketing world. Everybody's busy. I mean, we're all so busy to actually take time out to invest, and it is an investment into executive education is a thing. To meet this continued need for executive education, we offer a variety of training workshops, and we'll talk about the annual sponsorship Part 1 and Part 2 in more detail, but those workshops are for rights holders and for brands respectively, and we develop tools for those workshops. But for those that cannot attend those workshops, they only happen once a year. So for those that cannot attend, we actually do bespoke workshops as well. So we've actually put together some tailor-made training workshops, actually mainly for the Sports Authority of Thailand and the Thai National Sports Associations, which we coined the Room 101 guide on sponsorship. So actually breaking down sponsorship.
So if you're a company that can't commit to that time next year, next September, when the next one is,
then we can develop one for you and
get in touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Work out what your unique needs for your business are, and at a convenient time to do it, and you can make that happen.
Absolutely.
Great. Or maybe a couple of businesses. Maybe there's a couple of people.
I mean, I think that our annual training workshops are just 4 days, 1 day training, 20 different people in a room. So they're very limited. There's very limited space. We don't want to increase those sessions because those sessions work. We tailor the content to the people in the room. Some companies don't like their employees going to training with other employees from other companies. Right. I mean, the fear of staff poaching, etc., etc. So I think that the bespoke training is also a great way of looking at specific needs. So for the Thai National Sports Associations, for example, that training was funded by the Sports Authority of Thailand. It was something that they were giving back to their associations. Right. And we could really tailor that to SAT's agenda and those guys in the room. And also we could shorten those training workshops. I mean, our annual training workshops are pretty intensive. They're a full day from like 9 in the morning till 8 at night. We can actually shorten them into half days or do a couple of half days, etc. So, yeah, we can look at that. I remember, oh my goodness, 20 years ago, we actually did some clinics, and they were just literally 1 or 2 hour clinics, and we did that for some of the Thai football clubs, where we had some clinics where they came with their issues. So they came with their sponsorship issues, and we tried to resolve those sponsorship issues in a 2 hour session or an hour session. So, the bespoke training can be as narrow or wide as a client wants. Additionally, our subsidiary Asia Sponsorship News, which we speak about a lot, does its own workshops and training. That tends to be around getting the most out of their tools. So actually getting the most out of ASN's premium tools, rather than about how to structure sponsorships or sell sponsorships. It's really about how can we use ASN's platform to get maximum ROI. So we have a lot of training available throughout the year.
If you'd like to get in touch with Paul Pool Southeast Asia Co Limited, you can email us on info@paulpool.co.th, or you can go to the website paulpool.co.th, or you can call us on +66 2622 0605 through to 7.
So, yeah, I was just thinking, if only we knew, an executive who provides such courses and could actually... No, what I'm after here is, can you give me the program specifics? Sure. I mean, we're not going to give away the farm here. We're not going to tell you the detail of what this program delivers, but we can tell you about how it's structured, I guess.
So every year in September, we do sponsorship part 1, which is for rights holders, and sponsorship part 2, which is for brands. We usually do it at the Como Metropolitan Bangkok in Satorn. It's actually a hidden gem. It's got some great meeting rooms, but it's quite a quiet hotel, right. And it really lends itself to these training workshops. So it's not a 4-day training; it's 4 one-day training workshops. So Tuesday, Wednesday is for rights holders, Thursday, Friday is for brands, and it's 20 people per session. Right. And as I mentioned before, the reason it's only 20 people per session is we actually produce the training materials based on the people in the room.
Yeah, it's not a one-size-fits-all program.
So every year the training is different because we look at the people in the room and we create the training materials. We select the case studies based on those guys in the room, so they can walk away with something that they can really put into their business. It's not just learning something; they can actually take it away, put it in their business. Right. It's a day really well invested for their specific needs. Right. So, sponsorship part 1, delegates will develop an understanding of why brands sponsor, getting brands to buy. Creating sponsorship exploitation plans, tying to business objectives, maximizing the use of granted rights, and working with brands to measure the effectiveness of the sponsorship. So basically, a rights holder, so if you own a marathon and you really need to understand, how am I going to find those sponsors? How am I going to package my rights? How am I going to present those to the brands that and explain how why they're important, but also how to manage, how to maximize, how to look at your activation, etc. So it's a really intensive day.
Would you say that that's good for people who are already hosting those sort of events, and also for people who haven't but are planning.
Yeah, I think so the whole point of doing two different sessions, if you're two different workshops, one is for rights holders, so it's for the rights holder to learn every aspect of how to approach sponsorship in their business, whether you're an event that's been running 30 years or an event that's just about to operate. So it's for absolutely everybody. And as I said, we look at real live case studies. So if you're a music festival, we will bring music festival examples from outside of Thailand or I mean, maybe in Thailand as well, but we will look at music festivals generally and give them some real great examples. So the day is quite a grueling day. We start at 9 a.m. With registration and introduction. 9:30 to 10:30, we look at why brands sponsor, so business needs. 10:30 to 12:30, workshop 1 is on packaging. So developing and packaging rights, getting brands to buy, presenting the opportunity to maximum advantage, advanced packaging techniques, creating sales strategies, and closing deals. Then we break for lunch from 12:30 to 1:30, and there's no rest. We actually have a leading sponsorship lawyer and intellectual property rights expert as a keynote speaker during lunch. So it's a working lunch. We then come back from lunch at 1:30 to 2:30, and we have creating and implementing sponsorship exploitation plans. So using advertising and PR, creating strategic alliances, and the role of merchandising, mobile and online exploitation. We use the word exploitation, could be activation, is the same. Then we look at workshop 2, which is exploiting the sponsorship. So developing exploitation plans. Managing and measuring sponsorship, working with brands to measure the effectiveness of sponsorship, securing repeat sponsorship. Then the workshop ends at 6 o'clock with questions and answers. And then we go into a networking evening drink. So then we have from 6 to 8 networking drinks. And again, with 2 senior keynote speakers from the world of sports sponsorship. So if you're into arts, you can learn from sports. If you're into sports, you can learn from arts. So we have workshops, we have presentations, and we have keynotes throughout the day. So it's quite a grueling day. It's 11 hours of training for rights holders. So that's the first 2 days. Right. Then we have sponsorship part 2, which is for brands. And we look at similar things, but from a different perspective. So again, why brands sponsor, sourcing the right sponsorship, creating sponsorship exploitation plans, tying to business objectives, maximize the use of granted rights, working with rights holders to measure effectiveness of sponsorship. And again, that day is from 9 till 8. Same again, 9 to 9:30, registration and introduction. 9:30 to 10:30, why brands sponsor, so business needs. 10:30 to 12:30, sponsorship part 1, sourcing the right sponsorship that's right for you. And that's with Paul from Performind. Performind's the tool we use when we're actually selecting sponsorship for brands. And it basically shows the return on investment, return on objective, breaks down all the rights. So it's a tool to help really take the emotion out of the sponsorship decision. So it puts all the numbers together so you can make a real strategic move. Then again, we break for lunch again at 12:30 to 1:30, and we have, again, the sponsorship lawyer, intellectual property rights expert as the keynote speaker. Come back from lunch 1:30 to 2:30, creating and implementing sponsorship exploitation plans, using advertising and PR, creating strategic alliances. That could be working with other sponsors if you're a brand within the IP. Again, the role of merchandising, mobile online exploitation. Then we have a workshop 2, exploring sponsorship, developing exploitation plans. Then managing and measuring sponsorship, working with rights holders to measure the effectiveness of sponsorship, securing repeat sponsorship. So exactly the same as the original sponsorship part 1, but from the brand perspective. And then we end the workshop again with Q&As, and then go into the networking drinks again. And what's interesting is we do get some rights holders doing both workshops. So we do have some rights holders doing both workshops. I don't think we've ever had any brands do both workshops, but rights holders are quite interested to put a brand hat on and see from a brand's point of view. And actually, if you're a smart rights holder, that's what you'd want to do, because you need to fully understand why brand sponsor.
Interesting.
So that's, in a nutshell, our annual training workshop. Why we're talking about it a year in advance. Again, we only have 20 spaces per day. They usually sell out pretty quickly. We do run a super early bird until the end of this year, so 31st of December, the 30% off expires, and then we run an early bird to the end of March, which is just 20% off. So, I mean, we don't actually need to do super early birds or early birds because they all sell out, but we do this to reward people that book in early. Obviously, the sooner people can book in, the sooner we can start developing the sponsorship materials and the training materials specifically for them. Yeah.
And if people want to know how to do that, how to, get involved in something like that, they should see the newsletter.
They should.
Because,
or listen to the podcast.
Or listen to the podcast. Well, they are listening to the podcast, but they can't click a link on our words yet.
No.
So, but they could click a link on the newsletter and get in touch or get your phone number.
Correct.
Which is on the podcast, actually.
It is.
If you listen out for that, it's quite obvious there's music on it.
If you'd like to get in touch with Paul Pool Southeast Asia Co Limited, you can email us on info@paulpool.co.th, or you can go to the website paulpool.co.th, or you can call us on +66 2622 0605 through to 7.
All right, so that's pretty much what we got on the list. Any other business?
Yeah, there's a couple of amendments to some things we discussed last month.
Not because you got them wrong.
Not because I got them wrong, because they've changed.
Of course.
So the World Trail Majors 26 to 29, we've slightly changed the number of positions available within the sponsorship tiers. So I'm going to go through the sponsorship tiers again. So in Tier 1, we have one series presenting sponsor for the series, so as it says, for all events. In Tier 2, we now have just 2 official series partners for the World Trail Majors. And in Tier 3, we have just 6 official series suppliers and 6 official series media partners. So we've reduced the number of slots available. And actually the reason it's reduced is to give more to the sponsors that will be there. So that's an amendment to last month's story. And also Malaysian International Boat Show, or MyBoss.
MyBoss.
We have a date change and we have a confirmed venue. So the date will be the 2nd to the 5th of April in 2026. And the venue is Royal Langkawi Yacht Club.
That's confirmed now.
That's confirmed.
Because before it was
Correct.
one of two, right?
Actually, this is the same venue as the show. The inaugural show took place this year.
Okay.
They were looking at moving to a different marina on the island. They've decided to keep it where it was. So the date change is good for us, gives us a couple of extra months to get our teeth into this. So that's now confirmed. And hopefully next month there won't be future amendments.
Doesn't matter, we got a podcast, mate. It's
Exactly.
an ideal format for amending things.
Exactly. Much better than the newsletter.
Oh, way better, way better. I mean, you should still read the newsletter, though. All right, that's it for this month. Thank you, as always, Paul.
Thank you, Trevor.
Seeking sponsors. Seeking an opportunity to sponsor. Looking to maximise an already sponsored opportunity. Visit paulpool.co.th, the sponsorship experts.